It's a Friday edition. It's orange and blue today. We are partying. Well, maybe a little. Mace, we got to talk about something that it's going to be a lot of you on this show. But just in learning about a potential hidden gem, one that you have highlighted, I am coming around on a punter in the draft. First time I've ever uttered that sentence.
I was thinking this show might be your worst nightmare. Like, you got a punter there. I don't even want to know what this is going to be for, like, YouTube numbers.
Oh, don't look at our comments. Don't look at the comments. Please be kind to the comments. But
boy, come
we're
on.
talking about finding a hidden gem. The Broncos do what other teams don't. They take a punter. They take the first punter off the board, and this guy can play.
He can play, and he's developed really nicely, has Jeremy Crawshaw, in his time at Florida. Of course, he's one of the punters who comes out of Pro Kick Australia, and that's basically been a farm system for developing punters. I mean, the Australian punter used to be a novelty, and now it's pretty common in the NFL. These guys coming from a rugby or an Australian football background. In Crawshaw's case, it was rugby and then Australian football, and then he got into American football and got the scholarship to the University of Florida. But he's had a really fascinating path because it took him really a couple of years before you could talk about him being a potential viable NFL punter, because his first 2 years at Florida, he put up some good numbers in terms of distance, but was doing so in a way that was not going to translate to the NFL, because he would do that thing where he takes 2 steps away in one direction in punts, which can be effective in college, but if you do that in the NFL, not going to happen. So he had to remake himself, reinvent himself, and he also had to improve his placement punting, and he had to improve his hang time. That was actually a critique of him, especially early on in his career, and you'd still like him to have a little bit more hang time. That's something that Darren Rizzi's going to want to work on, and certainly I'm going to be tracking that as always. But by last year's cease, per the numbers compiled by Pro Football Focus, among all FBS punters with at least 35 punts last year, Jeremy Crawshaw, 5th in hang time. That's like among 100-plus punters. So got that to a point where he was one of the best at it. To go along with the fact that this guy was blasting howitzers at the Senior Bowl, like that's what got my attention. Like, first of all, if you're at the Senior Bowl, Cease, if they give 2 punter invites a year, so usually it's punter 1, punter 2.
Right.
Occasionally you'll see a top 1 go to the Shrine as well if it's a deep year. I remember Tommy Townsend a few years ago being at the Shrine. But in most years, your top prospects are going to be in Mobile. So it was him and James Burnip from Alabama. Burnip, not a great week. He did end up landing with the New Orleans Saints as an undrafted rookie free agent. But Crawshaw was miles ahead of Burnip. Like, it just sounded different. And that's actually what first got my attention, was when they were getting ready to start practice, and it just sounded like a cannon going off.
Sonic boom.
Yes. Like, I mean, I think it even got your attention, and you don't give a crap about punters. And
don't pay attention.
And you took notice of it.
Yeah.
So, like, if it's getting your attention, Cease, that's a starting point there. For the starting point for you getting to a point where you actually want to sit down and have a show where the lead is a punter. I mean, who'd have thought that?
And we talk a hidden gem.
Yes.
A hidden gem. And listen, he's the best of day 3, right? We'll look at their day 3 picks. We'll see what they do. Super excited, but it's really Crawshaw that could be the creme de la creme. And if we want weapons for Bo Nix, how many times I say it? Weapons for Bo Nix, weapons for Bo Nix. How about weapons for Darren Rizzi? How about just weapons? And at altitude, a former rugby player is going to have the toughness. Guys booming it, 60 plus. At altitude, what could he be?
Well, the thing is, he's become a good placement punter, so Rizzi's going to like that. But what the Broncos have also needed, that with all due respect to Riley Dixon the last couple of years they've lacked, is that guy who, if they're backed up in their territory, could just knock the crap out of the ball. I mean, think back to the 2022 game when they were playing the Titans and they had Ryan Stonehouse, then a rookie, and he's flipping the field with these blasts that are dropping inside the 10-yard line and forcing the Broncos to start deep in their territory. Their offense was bad enough, and then you're giving Russell Wilson and company the disadvantage of terrible field position. Of course they were going to lose that game. Stonehouse was the most impactful player on the field that day and the biggest reason why the Broncos lost that game. Well, that and Nathaniel Hackett's play calling, because that was his last game as a play caller for the Broncos, mercifully. But that's the sort of impact a punter can have. And yeah, can it help Bo Nix? Absolutely, because there are going to be times when it doesn't work for the offense. There are going to be 3 and outs. I mean, there's the whole joke, oh, we're not going to need to punt that often. Yeah, sometimes you're going to have a penalty. Sometimes you're going to have a hold. Sometimes there's going to be a drop pass. Crap's going to happen. And you're going to have 4th and 9 from your own 8-yard line, and your punter's going to be standing 3 yards from the back of the end zone. And you're going to want a blast. And the Broncos have lacked that guy who can just flip the field, that has the driver in his bag. Okay, the placement is good enough, but sometimes you just want to tell the guy, just kick it as far as you can and try to get that bounce as far as you can in a direction and get that bounce to where the returner can't field it. And so if you kick it long and it starts bouncing, then the returner backs away and you've got the bounce working for you. And all of a sudden, you may have had the line of scrimmage at your 8, but you had a long punt and it hits and starts bouncing. And then you look up and like, holy cow, we just got a 68-yarder. And even though we were deep in our own territory, the other team is starting. So just quick math here, 68 yards after the line of scrimmage is at your own 8-yard line. That means they're starting at their own 24. You've flipped the field, and instead of a situation where your opponent is starting at midfield and is 1 first down away from field goal range, and maybe depending on their kicker, not even a first down away from field goal range, you've made them have to work to get points. And with your defense, you've maybe set up to where, okay, they get a 3 and out, and then they're punting. And if it's a standard net punt of, 40, 45 yards or whatever, then Bo Nix is getting the ball, about what? The 30-yard line? You've picked up 20 yards. You've helped your quarterback. This is how a punter can help Bo Nix. It can all help Bo Nix.
It's analytics, man.
Yeah,
It's analytics.
It all can. It all can. I mean, yeah, it's easy to say a target would help Bo Nix. A pass catching target could have helped Bo Nix, but is that pass catching target going to make the team? And this is another thing. Cecil, as you got to round 6, round 7, how many spots on this roster were open? Realistically.
You're looking at practice squad guys. Even if it was guys we like a Brashard Smith, even if it was Rondé Gadsden, I think it was already gone by that time, but still, even if it was one of the guys we talked about that we liked.
Luke Lachey,
right? Luke Lachey, Brashard Smith. We're talking practice squad.
Yes.
Crawshaw could be the number 1 guy, starter.
Yeah. He's the favorite, you'd have to say, with all respect to Matt Hawk. Mm-hmm. Matt Hawk has not been a regular punter for a team since 2022. Matt Hawk is now on his 8th team since New Year's Day of 2021. Certainly, the odds are not in his favor. The draft investment will favor Crawshaw. And then there's the whole thing, oh, you could have gotten him undrafted. Probably not.
Nope.
At least one punter has been drafted in all but one draft, I believe, since 1998. So history favored Crawshaw going off the board in round 7. If you wanted him, you had to take him. Certainly based on Crawshaw talking about multiple lunches with Darren Rizzi, a relationship was established. But beyond that, steady improvement through his time at Florida. His gross average was a bit down as a senior, but his placement punting was up and his hang time was up. He was improving those things, and he still, again, has that driver in his bag to be able to flip the field as well. And like we said, you drafted somebody there who's going to make the team, and there wasn't, there just weren't spots. I mean, Q Robinson is a 4th-round pick. He's not a lock to make the team. He probably makes the team, but he's not a lock to make it at this point. That's how tight the roster is right now. I mean, the thing that could put Q Robinson on the roster is how many quarterbacks do you think the Broncos keep on the 53? Because they kept 3 last year. Do you think it's a 2-quarterback 53 this year?
I think it kind of has to be.
And that may be where you get Q Robinson's spot because he's probably your 5th edge. And you only had 4 last year. That might be where the spot comes from.
Hidden gem.
Yeah.
Crawshaw, the guy. Mace, tell your sister you were right.
Oh, my gosh. Cecil, you came around on a punter. I mean, we got to save this show. I'm going to put this on my hard drive and keep this one. Man, alive. What happened to you? Are you really Cecil? Am I talking to somebody else right now? Like, it has an alien kind of gone into your body, like when Kang and Kodos went into Bob Dole and Bill Clinton's bodies on The Simpsons here? Like, What happened?
Maybe I feel like a zombie right now, but it's legit.
Well, you've been working hard. Like, you're in the middle of doing a lot of shows right now for football guys. Like, and of course, you're doing your usual radio compliments. So, yeah, you're feeling it right now.
We're both grinding away, man.
Yes.
And that's why on Friday, we're going to get out here a little bit early. So everyone out there, have a very safe and happy weekend. But Mace, we need some help on YouTube. How can folks do that?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell,
so that you
never
miss a vid. That's right. He's Andrew Mason. You follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying OBT's BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Have a good weekend. Stay frosty.